Alright, and here we are. All started. Yay!
Hello, Internet.
Bonvenici, bienvenidos.
Bon volu.
Hello.
Hello. Oh wait, that character isn't here.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my friends.
Okay.
Alright, we are back with our role for that today, the healing heist. We're gonna go ahead. I think Whitney said that she would go and give us a little bit of a recap.
So, last week on Roll for That, we spent a lot of time planning for our heist, which tonight, it's heist night. Really excited. We notified and set everything up so that we could get everything ready. We notified our tentacly friend so that his part in this would be ready for today. And I believe we were planning on doing the heist at mid-afternoon-ish.
A little afternoon, I think, was when the...
during the matinee of the Devil's Ball or something.
Whatever
like
the
that
is
play.
called.
I can't remember the name, but there's a play and it's got a devil in it.
Tell us whether or not you would join a Patreon so that I could write that play and then post it on there. Say so in the comments below.
If any of you would like our Patreon,
it would be an
gladly
operetta.
make one.
Oh, we're making an operetta. Please join our page that we don't even have set up.
If we get to 100 people on Patreon by next week, then I will go through all the effort I need to write a reasonable operetta that we could perform on screen for you.
It might just be recordings of us singing.
Well, that's what an operetta is.
Like, I mean, without
Make it
us on
happen,
screen, just like
Internet.
recordings.
Make
of
it
us.
Oh,
happen.
I see what you're saying.
But when we know how to make costumes and stuff, because we have 1,000 Patreons.
No, now I like the idea of us just like going to Walmart and grabbing like a sheet
Okay.
that we'll put on like a toga style.
No. It's all going to be Instagram filters. That's what all of the costumes are going to be.
All Instagram filters.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I can't argue
We
with
could
that.
maybe use some TikTok filter stuff too, but
Or
like,
Snapchat.
or Snapchat. Yeah. Anyway,
The devil,
we'll
the
use-
devil uses the neon twin filter
Of
to
course,
double
yeah,
itself up a little
absolutely.
bit. And...
Yeah.
everyone is
Make it
required to
happen,
use the
Internet.
really pretty
Make it
eyes filter.
happen.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
all those.
obviously.
Only the angels.
All right.
I'll
Regular
play-
people don't have
I'll
pretty
play
eyes.
as the beautiful young maiden, and I'll have like that faux freckle thing or whatever it is that they've got going on lately.
Perfect.
It'll be great. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you, Whitney, and I apologize.
I think that was
We will write that
everything.
play.
I think that was
Grayson's
probably
disguising himself
too.
as a
Priest.
yeah, and I'm coming
Or
in
acolyte.
through a window.
He's
we're
going
doing
through the front
something
door.
at the amphitheater, and we're gonna get the helmet. So do it.
And I'm the one going
Cool.
into the room we decided.
Now,
Yeah.
And I'm taking your bag with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over a little bit how this is going to work out. It's mostly going to be a cinematic kind of a feel, and we're doing things a little different.
Theater.
I have a list in my hands.
And we're back.
Hello again.
I have a list in my hands right here that has things that they're not supposed to see, so they can't see it. But it has a bunch of things that are going to go along. I wrote a list of the things they plan to do, and I put challenge ratings to it that's going to apply and go in towards it. What's going to happen is once we get to each of those parts, they're going to roll with their skill, or alternatively, their companions who are going to be rolling will roll with their skill, but instead of rolling with their proficiency, they're actually going to have a relationship added in instead of the proficiency part of it. After that, what we're going to do is if they get it, then it just means that they succeed flawlessly. But this is a heist, and everyone knows that the plan never goes flawlessly in a heist. So, we also have a couple other things in here. You guys can't see the bowls necessarily that these are in, but we have bowls full of these coins. those coins represent different things. They have a couple of silver. They have silver and copper dice in there that represent a number of different things, such as spells that they have access to, just general tools that they have access to, acolytes, things like that. The copper and the silver will represent D4 of dice that they can roll to add to that D20 to try to get over that challenge rating. And then they also have gold coins, they have, what are those?
Electrum?
Yeah, so that one's the gold coin. So that one is a D8. The Electrum is a D6.
That's platinum.
And there's one platinum in there that represents a D20, who is Merrick, their ace in the hole. But that's kind of how this is going to go. So we're going to go through it cinematically, and then they have all those tools to add in at different points to make it so things work more in their favor or make it so they can succeed. Basically, the only way they'd fail is if they have to use every single one of their tools and don't have any more after that. Try not to run out of tools.
That's the plan.
We'll see what happens. This is the first time we've tried this, so the next time we do a heist, it might be a little bit different. But this is kind of also just a trial version, or kind of a trial of doing it with this kind of a system. So.
Welcome to pseudo D&D.
All D&D is. Sorry, I'm not gonna talk about D&D.
Welcome to the healing heist system.
Don't worry.
Oh my goodness! I should have just written a hack of Honey Heist for this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
mostly
sorry.
because it has the word heist in it.
It's a really cool.
We'll
we'll talk
look
about
into
it later.
yes.
It's a really cool game.
Mm-hmm. And we're about to start playing a game using a Savage World system where we'll be doing a zombie roleplay. We're considering making a podcast out of it. Let us know if you think it'd be a good idea.
We're gonna still record it. So if you don't think it's a good idea, well, sucks to suck.
We're gonna record it. It's just whether or not anyone else gets to listen.
that's fair.
All right.
Okay.
With that being
Heisting.
said, we get to the point. Everyone's been getting to their correct positions. We see Merrick is near the cathedral, getting in position. Oh yes.
I'm just gonna say kind of to these guys, like
I don't feel
the morning of before we do
Before
it.
I start my cinematics.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Like if things get too hot, then just give me my bag of holding and I'll turn back into a crow and just the heck out of dodge. That way you don't have to worry about trying to hide or smuggle an item. And I'll meet you at the ruins that we went to. They're just outside of this.
I mean, that's a reasonable enough meeting place.
And we were having some people flee with us, theoretically.
Yes, Nesta.
Because they were with him. And so it's probably going to be easier for you to flee with them.
It was primarily Nesta.
Yeah, I think that
we were gonna meet
You were going to meet
at
them.
somewhere designated with horses,
yes.
and Nesta was gonna be with you for your shindig.
Mm-hmm.
And the gnome?
Yeah.
The artificer gnome was there too?
He's with him, yeah.
Okay.
So the artificer gnome.
Bernessi.
So this is
Marenbo.
that is if everything hits the fan.
Yeah, that is if everything hits the fan, and we think that's like the only option.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the city we were going to next.
Yes, we were going to Fair. The city with paper.
We're going to Paperville.
Paperville. Everyone knows
Pay-per-view?
good old Paperville.
I don't pay per view.
Not
Okay.
even for wrestling.
No, wrestling's
A
lame.
quick extra rule here.
Unless you're into that, then I really love it.
Yes.
The max that you can use for D4s is 4 of them on
For
any
a
one.
single
One.
On any one roll, yeah.
Okay.
That's important because the other ones are basically a one-time. You can roll 2d6s if you want on one roll. 4d4s on one roll.
44.
Yep. And then otherwise it'd be 1d8 or 1d12 for the other two. So, but that's where we're at on that as well, because it's one per thing that you have. So they have tools in general, for D4s. They have their spells for D4s. They have psionic powers that they can use for D4s. And then you have a bag of animal tricks for D4.
And my key points.
Sorry, what?
And my
Key
key
points?
points?
Your
My
key
two-
points or
my
D6s?
two key points. They're D6s.
So-
Just kidding.
Yes.
It's because they're very versatile and powerful.
Yeah.
And good at punching people.
I just thought they were D4s. So.
Yes,
They're
it is.
better.
It's nice to know that they're suddenly a little bit better. Yeah, and then as far as the D6s go, there's your key points and there's the acolytes. There's the 3 D8s. Those are representative by the rest of the teammates that you have in the healing heist. The ones that are just outside the cathedral waiting to help if needed. And then there's Merrick as you raise in the hole, who's the D20. So that's where we're at as far as that goes. Now, we're going to cut to the little bit of the cinematics here in the beginning. We see that Merrick is getting ready at the cathedral. You see him kind of around on top of some of the buildings near the cathedral. We cut to the Bard family is putting up their little wagon into a little bit of a stage out in the market area. We actually see that their son, it cuts to their son, and he's putting some horses in stables, and you see him just kind of tying them loosely to a couple of the locations that we see, as well as a couple other people. It cuts to a couple, it's one of those scenes where there's 3 people, it has one person that gets pushed into the side into a little third of it, another person's doing the horses, then another person's doing the horses.
The getaway driving scene.
Yeah,
Oh.
so you see all of those things happening. We go to a lot of other people start just doing a blend-in scene in the courtyard around the cathedral. Along with the 2 of you probably, and then we actually cut to our good friend over here, who is currently getting Wolf and his friends together. Is just barely, you see him kind of just barely meeting up with them for the drinks, as was promised on the beach.
I imagined a Phantom Menace screen wipe.
Yeah, so a bird flew by and it screen wiped, and it suddenly we were at the beach. On the beach, you see, everyone was told to kind of bring a couple drinks. Some dude actually just brought a whole barrel that they have up, and
It's kegged.
and yeah, exactly. But there's also a bunch of other drinks and bottles that are kind of just around and being passed around occasionally. The grand total of people here, not including you and your 2 and the 2 other heist members, is 21.
Yeah.
So 21 total people, and then the 3 of
21
you.
extras, and then there's me and the gnome, and was it Nesta?
Exactly.
Okay.
This is pretty much the only talking part. Was you were planning on talking to them before you guys actually were going in. I don't know, was there anything you were wanting to say to them before you went to the play?
Oh man, anything specifically?
Yeah, I don't. Otherwise, it'll just kind of be getting together, kind of getting ready and excited. But
Give us the cinematic of this area.
So I guess if we want to go cinematic, we have that little screen wipe, and we see Sirius. He's got a half full mug of ale in one hand, and he's gesturing with his other hand and talking to these other people, and he walks up to somebody and claps them on the shoulder and says their name, you see that.
here you go, have a prop.
There we go. This mug is probably way nicer than the one that that Sirius is actually using, because this is just something that we scrounged up or whatever.
Of course, yeah. Well, everyone just brought an extra mug that they had at their house.
You do.
Probably. I mean,
This is from the primary.
It's right there. It's fine.
Doesn't everyone have their travel mug? I don't know.
I mean,
There you
a
go.
lot
See?
of people probably did.
Yeah?
Anyway, sorry. Tangent. And we see Cirrus has he's got this huge smile on his face, and the camera zooms in on his face, and you see he's got this big smile, and he's talking animatedly, and it zooms in, and pretty soon the zoom like cuts off his mouth, and you only see like his nose and up, and you can tell that his eyes are not smiling. And then it zooms back out, and he just says, and just, you know, we just gotta go for it. We only have the one chance to make an impression on him, so let's do this.
There's a cut where it kind of just goes. We go and we're at the play, and you see everyone's already sitting down, or practically everyone who is going to be watching it's already sitting down. But we know who some of the characters are. We see them start popping up at some of the entrances and things like that. You see, you know, everyone's kind of watching. There's all these scenes where we can't actually hear, like, we're just hearing music from like the background music of what's happening. So we can like see these parts in the play, but it's just them laughing. Like, it means absolutely nothing to us.
Yeah.
No one gets to hear anything about what's actually happening in this play right now.
Oh.
We got the pre-play jitters.
Is this during the play itself?
Yeah, so I imagined that you guys weren't sitting and watching the whole
Yeah.
play, but were actually kind of showing up just a little bit before the scene in question.
Gotcha. And so we have the shot of like the stage, and the camera turns and you see the audience, and then these people that we now recognize from that party filtering in, and the camera kind of goes a little bit fuzzy until the only focused spots are entirely on the people coming in.
Yeah.
And like the sound gets all fuzzy and underwatery sounding.
Exactly. So we kind of get to
Sorry,
that
I'm-
scene. No, you're fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. We see that scene where, you know, we're seeing the crowd, they're interacting, they're laughing and things, but then there's some people getting in here. They're not quite walking perfectly straight, but they don't look like they're enjoying the play, and they're all kind of walking in at the same time. I believe at this point, suddenly we go, you probably brought a book with you, or how does you were probably staying in contact with him with your book, and then
I'm
he
just
can
writing
reply.
to him periodically.
Yeah.
Because
You
I
write
have
to
general
him.
time, yeah.
You write to him shortly, and you get that impression, or he speaks to you in your mind, right?
It appears as words in my book.
Right. Okay. So you see the words in your book, and at this point it says, "We are getting into position. We will be starting shortly."
Yeah, starting in 10 minutes.
At that point, that was kind of the cue for you guys to start getting ready to go in, but not to actually go in. In that 10 minutes time here, everyone gets fully into their positions. We now have the Bard family is just about to start playing there. They got that same general message because I think you had them written as well to be able to tell them when to start playing. They are doing their final preparations. Right at that point, we're going to, we see you writing in your journal to them, and then it goes back over to you, and it's right. We see that the beginnings of that scene are happening right now, so it's just like we are approaching it right now for you to go up and do what you're needing. Go ahead and take over. So roll your d20 first. You can either do that to tell yourself how to act, or this is just how well. Actually, go ahead and do your cinematic first, and then roll.
Okay, do my cinematic first before I roll?
Because this is what should happen.
Well,
And
no,
maybe
he is succeeding at doing this cinematic. It's just whether or not it brings enough chaos.
It's a matter of how many guards we actually siphon over here.
Exactly.
before
So that's why. Yeah. So in your case, I want you to just do your cinematic. This is a free cinematic for you, and then you'll roll to see how effective it was, how much you brought them over.
How quickly we can get guards over here and distracted.
This one, for those watching, this roll that he's doing is not to beat a CR, but is actually to help possibly give benefit to the rest of the team by pulling away guards and attention.
Yeah. So, the moment comes into play when it was a pit fiend, right? As like you've got the hero at their mercy, and they start monologuing, and then the hero interrupts their monologue in the middle of this terrifying moment, and like their hand like starts glowing with holy light, and they're like standing up and they start saying, "No, you can't do this to the people, and they're protected by." And then Cirrus like does just like a ridiculous free running stunt and like leapfrogs over a chair into a handspring onto the stage, and like stands gets up there with a flourish and interrupts the monologue, interrupting the monologue with his own monologue.
Yes, the monologueception.
Yes.
Yes.
And it starts off with, "Wow, look at where this started. These beautiful, humble, powerful beginnings. And look how far the Church of Intellion has come since then." And I think I'm going to use some magic power to back me up on this.
Sounds good to me.
Confused clapping.
And just go with my monologue. We'll see how, or what skill should I use?
It would be.
It would.
I mean, I think
performance.
whichever is higher than performance or persuasion.
I
But
mean-
if they're the same, then it.
They're about the same. These ones are D4s, right?
Yes.
Okay. Spent pile. That's an 11.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was a 1. Okay. Oof.
Nope.
Mechanically
as I
speaking,
thought.
what that's going to mean is I'm going to add 1 to basically everyone else's roll.
Mhm.
So you are able to cause some havoc here. Your fellows, your followers, they start, after you do your speech, there's kind of a rustle in the crowd, that kind of thing. We see you kind of talked to them beforehand what you wanted to happen. So
Yeah.
some of them start standing up and like agreeing with you or asking the right questions that you had told them to ask beforehand. And you start to see that some of the people in the crowd kind of are wondering, like some people in the crowd you see might kind of agree with or see where you're coming from with that. Alternatively though, there's also people who just look downright scared or like outraged.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is definitely there's some contention in the crowd. We pan around the crowd and can see just discontent all around. And there is a portion where it looks like a little bit of a fist fight has started as well. A little scuffle, nothing too crazy now. This being a location where there is generally large crowds, they have a bit of a guard set up already. They did, but they did send a runner, it looked like, to go and contact the authorities. So through a couple of things that happened there, it's going to pull at least a couple people away. Maybe not a lot, but it did start a little bit of something.
Yes.
Cutting from there, we go to Rolf and his family. Turns out I do have a couple rolls. Sometimes I forget. We cut to Rolf and his family. Now they are setting a distraction as well. They are playing at the market. So we had already seen them in the cinematic setting up that thing. We now go to Rolf going and telling he starts off. It's one of those songs that starts off with a story monologue before a song actually starts with it. So he's speaking to the beginning of it.
There's like that faint sound of.
Yeah, so he's playing a little melody, little finger picking on there while he's playing. His wife is playing a flute lightly in the background as well, and then his daughter. After a moment of it, when the songs, he stops saying this monologue, and it's a story that if you had been in this area before, you would know it well. Like, this is a well-known, well-respected song because it's typically hard to do, and so it does well with it. His daughter starts doing like a background singing as it happens, and they see how well they do. Okay, so they are going to add an additional +2 to the rolls for their distraction. So total for all the rolls going into these things, because of the crowd that they're gathering to a place that doesn't always have a crowd, they had to bring guards over as well to them to keep the crowd more ruling. and it doesn't happen right immediately. This song kind of got them in, but then they're going to be doing more ruckus songs to get the crowds really going. Kind of like tavern songs and things like that you would hear to get people to...
Irish punk.
Yeah, totally Irish punk.
What
Yep.
do you do with a drunken sailor?
That's even different.
Sea shanty.
They're doing sea shanties. They're like got part of the crowd doing a sea shanty. They got this part of the crowd doing a drinking song, and they got this part of the crowd like they're gonna have 4 concerts in one here apparently.
Oh yeah.
Xander performs only pirate metal.
Only pirate metal. Yeah.
That's the only disruptive song I could think of.
No, you're good. Partially because you were so far away, it might be that they just didn't get as many people from the cathedral. But they got people going over there. They got people going over here. You guys are going to be getting plus 3 to all of your cathedral rolls here.
Would you like us just to add that to our rolls? Or do you want to add it? Okay.
No, you add your...
Okay.
It'll just be a plus 3 when you're rolling.
Perfect.
So they're assisting with each of your rolls to give you that plus 3. Now, we've got that beginning.
A nice safety net for you.
That beginning has now gone underway. We cut to Grayson, our good friend. I believe that you would have just shifted into one of the guards, and then this is your scene to go walking into the cathedral.
Yeah. And like almost near, as a guard goes running down one of the street lanes responding to an incident, I take his face and walk back out and into the cathedral. I think it's just very muted colors except for around Vincent with that very, I don't know what color the guard had, but like just the vibrant like blue or red. And walk in and I make the gesture we assigned with Luth? Oh.
Yeah, Luth Wilton, the acolyte.
The acolyte.
I make the thing that I'm known to him. And that's like, okay. And it's just like that quiet talking as he guides me to where we need to go.
Go ahead and roll here. This is either going to be a stealth or really stealth, persuasion, or deception. Whichever is your highest is fine for me.
I'll do deception.
Okay.
And I get a plus 3?
Yeah.
So I get a plus 11, so 20.
20. All right. So you're just off. So this is the point where you're going to have to... Well, so it doesn't quite work perfectly here, but... because in this situation you didn't quite get to it. These are kind of representations of things, but it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. What happens is as you're walking in, someone sees you and stops you and says, "Weren't you just called out? Like, why are you back so soon?"
What would Luth be? Does he count as a
Luth isn't any of those. No. He's not directly... I mean, he's just kind of there assisting you with the thing he needs to be doing. He's not going to go out of his way to do additional things because of his precarious situation in the church by helping you already.
I think one of our team... This is the thing that makes the most sense. Not a tool, but one of our team runs some sort of interference.
Okay. Go ahead, roll. They're going to be the golds, I think, or the d8s. Because this one, I want these in each section, sorry. Gotcha. So this was the thing you did.
Yeah.
This is in the cathedral.
Plus 5.
I see.
So 25 total.
25 total?
Yeah. So as this guy tries to stop me...
Yeah. As that guy is kind of like seeing you approaching the front of the cathedral and he's about to like be like, wait, you're supposed to be going. You would all like... Let's see. At that point, we see...
It's like a Delmira.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So Delmira is suddenly there, and she starts doing a distraction.
Is that the Dragonborn?
Yes. So she starts coming up, but so she just walks up and she like grabs his arm and like starts telling a story, and you see him like flipping things out, and like suddenly there's this, and then has one of his things, and like just kind of walks up and just 100% just completely distracted, and you're able to get in with no problem whatsoever. So you start walking in and you're going up towards the designated spot. You had done the hand signal to tell your friend, the acolyte, that you were going in.
Mhm.
That hand signal probably had a second thing telling Whitney and Bill that you were going there. That was you going into the building, which cued that it was time for you guys to go up in through the
Screen with 2 smaller screens of the 2 characters. Or unless you guys are together, but you guys are traveling.
Probably
different.
We
different.
probably are different. I'm hiding in an alleyway where I can see you, so I can duck into the shadow and turn into a crow.
Yeah.
So these screens take precedence.
Yeah. So you see Bill is actually was ready to just start climbing up the side of the building basically. It looked like
a bag of chalk.
Yeah, he pulls out a bag of chalk, gets it all ready. This looks like he starts climbing up it, and it just looks like this is something that's like second nature to him. Like he's just used to climbing up this kind of architecture.
Nice.
Is there something that he's not unfamiliar?
I love Bill.
B&E.
Bill's my favorite.
And then we cut to Whitney, who's just like, it's time to go, and crow.
Have we established how your transformation works? Do you like Animorph's transformation, or is it just like you blink and there's a crow and
cinematics
I feel like
this
it's-
transformation for us.
So as the screen is
It's-
climbing, animation.
Like, basically, I disappear into like a cloud of like bubbles, but it's probably just like a cloud of feathers, and then suddenly there's a bird.
Okay. So it's just
with
like-
a couple of feathers maybe left on the
there's
ground
just
when
like
I
a
fly
little
away.
magical effect. And
Yeah.
then
Where your body mass was, something appears.
Basically.
Yeah, so we cut to Whitney about to turn into a crow. We see her close her eyes, getting ready, then suddenly there's like this outline of her body with just like a couple feathers around it, like black bird feathers in the shape of her body a little bit, and then a crow like flies out from the middle of the feathers. That sound like kind of
Yeah,
what you were
and
thinking?
the feathers just fall to the
And then
ground.
the rest of the
and then-
feathers just fall, and you fly away off towards the building.
And there
Yeah.
definitely has to be like a cool cinematic of you like flying around Bill as he's climbing. Like it like pans around the cathedral.
Definitely. Yeah, because you're a bird, so you fly around the building once. You fly towards
Yeah,
where
I
Bill
probably
is.
didn't
And the
start on the
words
same
start
side
saying-
as Bill. I probably
Yeah.
had to fly around to get
everybody
to the
wants to
window.
rule the world.
Go ahead and roll for me, Whitney. You're gonna roll a d20.
Stealth?
Yeah, we're gonna go stealth. There's so many dice options.
And it's just a d20?
Yeah,
Plus
it's gonna
your
be
stealth, plus
plus
the
stealth
3.
plus the 3.
21.
21. You're very close on that one, but not quite. I am going to actually give you a free d4.
Because she's a bird?
No, because Bill is also assisting in this case. So just roll the d4 and add that to it. 4. So what is that total? 25. Okay. You still have not quite gotten to the DC. I didn't think you would with that, because it would be impossible. But that gives us one step closer. So you're not there yet. You have the option of using any of those on the list to assist you in getting the rest of the way. Did you add the plus 3 as well?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I wasn't sure. And if it doesn't quite fit thematically the way you want, the dice are more representatives of things that are helping you than having to be specifically what it says. It would be more cinematic, or it would maybe fit a little bit better if it was, but I don't think it has to be. It's kind of just a way to succeed. And it could be as simple as here. So what happens is Bill is climbing up the wall, and some of the bystanders.
Isn't Syken already helping? Like, isn't that part of Syken's is to let us know that it's clear?
Yeah, so that would have been part of it. He would be one of the people outside helping. He would be one of the D8s if you want. So that is an
I
option.
want to use it. Yeah,
You could
it's
use a
early.
tool.
Or you could be using a tool or
You
thing,
could use
or
a
you
key
could use
point.
a spell.
Mhm.
Key point would be a D6 for you. But I think that what happened is maybe someone starts to notice Bill or something along those lines.
Yeah.
The other thing that I can do is make the cinematic fit with what thing you decide, opposed to the other way around.
Right.
So you decide what's going to fix the problem, and then I just make the problem work with that kind of a thing. Yeah, it could easily just be magic.
Just
Grease.
need one of the spells. Or
Yeah, the next.
Yeah, I think I'll spend a D4. I use a spell.
Okay. Perfect. So you're using a spell. What are some spells that you have with?
I have Mage Hand, Firebolt, and Prestige.
And you're the arcane trickster, right?
Yes.
So we're going to go with this. So what's happening is actually Bill is having a hard time with the latch that he's trying to get in through the door. But it kind of has a little window on it, and you're actually able to see inside. And your mage hand, because you're the arcane trickster, is a little bit better than normal. You're able to just actually, like, once you land down by him, you see he's having a hard time, and you just, like, mage hand in there, and it opens it, and you're able to get it. It wasn't locked, it was just a latch he had a hard time with. But.
oh, and then they're able to get in, and the camera like zooms out, and we see the guard look right after they leave.
Right after they
So
took a
that's
step
how
in.
we know that it was just barely making it.
Exactly.
He's
yeah.
like, oh, the window's open.
Wait, did you roll your d4? I didn't even.
Oh.
Oh, whoops.
I know. Is it a 1? Is it a 1 or a 2? It's a 1.
Oh, you
no.
failed.
So, dang it. I
So-
just started doing the cinematic without it. You're able to get that latch.
The guard looks up. Right.
So we're gonna have to retcon that. Sorry, everyone. But
Sorry.
obviously,
Unless we want to add another thing to.
yeah. So I'm not gonna lie to you on this one because I feel like I accidentally led you astray. If you spend one more d4, you can't miss it. So that's why my brain was just like, oh, of course they succeed, but that's because you were 2 off before. So
Yeah.
if you decide to maybe, like, any of the other d4 skills that you want to do right now would get you.
Rules.
I've got a cool idea if you want to.
I'll use a tools one to
Okay.
help assist him with it since I'm also proficient
Yeah,
in
so
these
we can
tools.
say that this was a mix of
Do
two
you-
things. You got
Do you want me
there.
to roll it this time for the sake of rolling?
For the sake
it?
of rolling, roll it.
It's a 2.
But, well, that's okay. So it added the 1 and then it adds the 2. So it's not just the one time that it adds something in. So it was a total of 3 that you added with the tools and the spell together. So we're going to go ahead and say that it looks like he's been using these tools for a long time.
Are they?
And he just accidentally,
Yeah,
yeah,
this
they're
is-
going to be separate.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
I
where
need them.
this
I
is
need them
at.
for later.
I thought they were separate.
No,
as in
no,
by
no.
denomination.
Separate as in by where they affected what.
That makes sense.
I have some of these that are based on how many complications you ran into. So in the cathedral, each complication that you run into is going to make escaping harder.
Okay,
But
that makes sense.
Whitney, you use your spell. You're able to get the latch, but it looked like Bill accidentally bent one of his thieves. He's been using them for too long. Luckily, you had yours with you, and you guys were able to just get in no problem. And then we go to the scene where the guard turns right. Then, as the door shuts as the guard turns to.
And then he looks away, and we see the little crow head go over and relatch it.
Oh, I love that.
That's pretty great. So we've now got you guys into the library. That's the newest step here. Or sorry, you're not to the library
in the
yet. You guys are
cathedral.
both in the cathedral and on your way to the library.
On our
But
way
you
to-
kind of had an idea that you'd generally be able to get there without too much of a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. At this point, it's the acolytes who are trying to get to the library. I'm going to roll for those 3 acolytes. Now, what we see as the cinematics is it cuts to 3 acolytes who are all doing different things. And basically, they're doing whatever they're doing. One person's studying, one person's doing this, one, I'll
one's
go over,
cooking,
I'll kind of
one's
decide what
studying.
they're doing after I roll this. But suddenly they all just their brains or their mind, you see their face just snap and pause and they just stare forward for a second and then they just stand up, turn in a 90 degree, each of them do these weird different directions and then just start walking straight. Totally their minds have just been wiped and they're following someone's commands as we kind of knew was happening. As they are coming in, you three have all already made it to the location, along with the acolyte. As they're getting closer, you see that the first acolyte made it without too much of a problem, it seems. The second acolyte actually has 2 people following him, and you can hear them coming because you hear the two of them saying, "What are you doing? Like, we need to. You're supposed to be helping us right now to get all these. We're rescribing these books right now. You can't just walk away from this. What are you doing?" I'm gonna need you guys to respond to that with one of the dice that you guys have.
We all get there at the same time.
Mm-mm. Well, no, you guys are already there, so you guys were able to make it without too much of a problem.
Okay.
One acolyte made it. The second acolyte has a couple people following him, doing the thing, basically saying that he wasn't supposed to leave one of his duties.
Oh.
And it sounds like they're trying to convince him to come back, but if you peek around the corner, you can see his face is just blank, walking forward towards where you guys.
And so this is a roll for them to show how they.
I'll make it d7
So,
kind of thing.
I
Or are we using one of these dice?
am going to use one of my bag of tricks
perfect, okay.
Okay.
to distract them
Oh,
in
wow,
this
there.
instance.
Yeah.
Pulling out
So the
all
bag of
those.
tricks is the
Animals?
D4 down 3
Yeah.
D4s of animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of these.
Things are getting a little bit heated at the. There's lots of near misses and stuff.
That was the idea. This is a good
Hold
way
on.
to do it
Hold
cinematically
on.
instead of.
Oh. So this is what animal you're pulling out?
Yeah, I pulled a giant elk out of my bag of tricks
For
and
funsies.
just throw it down the hall. And then suddenly there's a giant elk in the hall, and I can give it a command. Action. It is friendly to me and my companions, and it acts on my turn. I can
Escape.
use a bonus action to command how the creature moves and what action it takes on its turn. So I'm going to tell it to get out.
So, I'm going to change that from a D4 because it's a giant elk.
Okay.
That sounds a little more distracting than a D4.
How large is a giant elk?
They're huge.
They're huge creatures.
not large.
They're giant elks.
Well,
large. So
an elk itself.
an elk is considered a large. So
Because
this would be
size, yeah.
it would be
I mean,
larger.
It
than
would be
that.
like
elk are like
moose
large
size.
Do you guys
horses.
remember when you found the giant elk?
Yeah, giant elk.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, huge category is elephants, like Indian elephants.
They're very large. I don't think it's quite Indian. So it still looks like a giant elk, but
the
blah, 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 blah,
abstracted amount
Yeah.
of space it takes up when it's fighting because it's actively moving around. Oh, yeah.
it's very large. Remember the elk that, in, what is it, The Hobbit, that the one dude rides? It's a little bigger than that.
Yeah.
You're gonna add a D6 instead of a D4 for that one.
Distract them.
But we're still going to use the D4 token.
That's what it was
I think you
previously
already did,
designated as.
Yeah.
So 6.
6? Yeah, so you send that giant elk. You have this little bit of lint is how I always imagine it for some reason. You pull a little lint out of this bag, it's a little brown, and you're just throw it, and then it barely fits in the hallways here, but it is a cathedral, so it fits in there.
Scraping the
Yeah,
wires.
pretty much. It's knocking down paintings and tapestries that are on the side. And one of the tapestries is just right on the antlers as it just starts running down. These two acolytes 100% just scream and jump out of the way, and your guys' friendly acolyte just keeps walking like he doesn't realize there's a giant elk in his way. He ends up being fine, but
It
that was
jumps over him.
wall runs.
In my head, he just kind of walks like next to it.
Yeah, that works too.
I imagine that there's enough room for him next to on one of the sides,
He
but
just walks underneath its antlers.
Because it's that tall.
it might be. But
it's probably huge. Like elk, like walk on the bottoms of lakes.
Like a moosh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so he's able to get past just fine. And with that roll that you just did, the third one's not going to have any problems either. So all of the acolytes are able to get into the library with you guys. At this point, your good friend, what's his name again? Your acolyte friend?
Luth?
Luth? Yeah, okay.
Wilton.
Luth, yeah. At this point, Luth starts directing the half-mindless acolytes and is like telling them to push away the tables, and so they push these tables out of the way, and you can see a little circle, a little teleportation circle. Looks like it's etched into the ground right there. At each of the four corners, like there's a square in the middle of it, or like a diamond, depending on where you're standing. And at the tips of each of those corners, there's a little circle. He directs each of these acolytes to stand into one of those circles. And tells them a prayer that they need to say, and they all start like chanting a prayer consistently over and over again, kind of a thing. It's from what you hear, it takes about a minute max to finish it, and then it's one that you've heard before. It takes about a minute, so it's like 10 repetitions of this prayer is what's about to happen. So you, I believe, were going to be rolling an illusion while they were doing that, while you're inside that teleportation circle. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me to decide how efficient that's going to be during this first part.
That's a 4. Do you want me to add like my spell modifier or
pluses? Go ahead and add your spell modifier. Yeah, whatever your spell modifier usually is.
So my spell modifier by itself is a +5, or do you want to add with proficiency for this weird? So like my spell attack.
Because
What does your spell attack say? It's
whatever
your
+8.
Is that what it says on? Yeah, it should be +8. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. So +8 +3, so 15 total.
15 total with this illusion.
Oh, I haven't. Do you want me to add one of the dice for the illusion?
I feel like the moose should add something for a while, but
It's a residual move. So
moose,
15.
elk. I'm just thinking about moose. That doesn't.
Yeah, we can add.
Was one of these spells in the dice pool for my illusion?
No.
Okay.
No, it was on its own.
Okay.
This is just the amount that it's going to be like efficient in assisting with the next 10 minutes of how well it's going to work. But I'm considering the moose question. Or the elk question, I mean.
Sorry, I said moose. That was my fault.
No, it's fine. My brain got stuck on it too. Those kinds of things happen. Do I think that the elk would probably add some? Roll a d4 for me, really. He was originally worth a d4 here. Which one?
I know!
There's so many dice.
I've got so many, you guys!
You have so many dice out.
Fun.
Dang it.
For the next 10 minutes and the 10 minutes after that, you're going to add an additional +1 for the moose. As well as Grayson's illusion is going to add a +1. So currently we're at a total of +5 to all of your rolls. For at least the next 2 roll sections, which is the teleportation up and the teleportation back.
Convenient.
Although my illusion will disappear once I'm in the room because...
Yes, so... Oh, you're right. So it's going to be +5 for
this one
up, and then it's going to be +4 on the next part.
Yeah.
But this does go into, now that your illusion is set, it is assisting a little bit in these things. Go ahead, one of the two of you need to roll for the next section here, which is the teleportation up. Probably makes more sense if Whitney is doing the roll.
What are we trying to roll for?
The idea is still kind of being stealthy.
Okay.
But if you think anything else might be more applicable, then that's fine with me. Like deception or things like that.
acrobatics to just be free running around the cathedral and distracting guards and.
Maybe, but that makes it sound like it's gonna be really obvious that there's someone in
29.
there. 29?
That you added the +5 for all the extra stuff?
No, so 29.
34.
Yeah, it's 34.
34?
Yeah, if it's stealth.
That's fine. It does not quite make it for the whole 10 minutes.
But we last a long time.
So, when it's nearing the end, you said it was how much? 34?
4.
Okay. Approaching the last little bit, one acolyte walks in through the illusion and just like stops and looks around. Like we see it from his view as an acolyte in the cinematics. The acolyte is just walking, like reading a book, kind of looks up every once in a while, and then he looks up, and instead of the library that he was expecting, he sees all of he saw it just a second ago when he looked up, looks back down, looks back up, and you're there, and Bill's there, and 4 acolytes are there, and he's in the teleportation circle. And now we need to add something to hopefully distract him or something.
Can I dash over and just
Whack him real good?
knock him unconscious?
Use a key point one.
Hey.
That actually sounds perfect for that.
Mm.
So that would be a d6. Which a d6, what was your roll again? 34?
Mm-hmm.
A d6 has the potential of it being only one complication you have, but you might have one more complication.
D6?
Yeah, no, the d6 is the electrum.
Oh, these are all D4s.
A 5? Yeah, everything in that one is d4. There. You rolled a 5.
Mm-hmm.
So you rush over and you just conk him, and he just he's just out. Now that's all fine and good, but you got to do something with him now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
especially once
pick
the
him
illusion's
up
gone.
and put him in a chair at a desk and prop him up over a book.
Can I have you? I'm going to have you use one of your d4s for a tool to assist in getting it done that way. You don't need to roll. It just takes. You were off by 1.
Okay.
It needed the CR for this one was 40. I was surprised you rolled as high as you did, but it was 10 minutes long, so it was going to be a high chance of there being problems happening.
Right.
But I didn't want you to. I wasn't going to tell you another complication and not tell you that you were only one off. Anytime you're only one off, I'm going to warn you. So.
I like I totally relate to this acolyte, by the way. Just a couple of minutes ago, a bunch of guards got called to suppress a potential riot. And then a giant elk started rocketing through the cathedral. And this guy is just he's reading a good book, though. And, he knows that there's an elk around, so he, looks up occasionally to make sure that he's still safe, but,
That's probably why he's actually moving. The elk got into the room he was in, he's like, nope.
Anyway,
the guards are everyone watch out, there's an elk coming. Shit.
I just relate to this guy on a spiritual level.
Oh, and we removed one of our tools as well.
Yes. So far, so good. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's a total of 7.
I could have thrown a dart at him, but I didn't want to kill him.
My assumption this whole time has been that you weren't planning on killing him. But
I'm trying not to kill anybody.
yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't even really add combat into the mix of things. I mean, technically we could if it comes down
to me escaping and someone dying, someone's gonna die, so I can escape.
So
okay?
now, cinematically, you guys are all sitting in the room, and then suddenly the illusion's gone. Because Grayson's gone. To you guys, what that meant is that suddenly everyone can see the room in disarray. Where before...
all the tables are pushed away.
Yeah, before he had an illusion of it being just a normal room, so multiple people had walked by during the 10 minutes, but they just were walking by.
Right.
It was just happenstance that dude walked in.
Actually in through
yes, exactly. So, but now the room looks more like it's in disarray, and they have to stay in their positions
For another 10 minutes.
For another 10 minutes. Now, the next part that we were going to do was that Wit and Bill, you guys were going to be running interference, which was just kind of like distracting people with minor things. So that's not going to be any of your D4s or things like that, just minor things. So his illusion disappears. Let me go ahead and have you roll for, I don't know, performance, Whitney.
I have a bag of caltrops that can cover 15 square feet.
You can do that, but mostly what that's going to do is hurt people's feet while they walk by.
Yeah.
Or like make them trip and fall and stuff.
Make people move slower if they're chasing you.
Yeah, so
I would keep those until
Okay.
that might be good for later. But right now, I just want you to roll a d20, and this is just kind of how good you're generally doing at distracting people during this time. Like, just to run interference with minor things, like throwing them rocks.
I'm 100% envisioning, like, I don't know if any of you have seen One Princess movie, but when they're trying to get the map, that's like what I'm seeing in my brain.
That's
Describe it.
Yeah.
so there's
literally.
this frog and this turtle.
And a bird.
And you're the bird.
Because crow.
Just running around trying to make like noise in like random places of the game, removing paintings from the walls and hiding them places so that people are like, "What the hell?" And I rolled. Is this a sleight of hand? It's a performance.
You
check?
can do sleight of hand.
Okay.
Sleight of hand.
With
And
the way you
that's
described
a
it, sleight of hand's fine with me.
20.
Plus
A 20 for sleight of hand.
24.
24.
Because of the pluses.
Right. Oh, right. I guess kinda. It'll just be 20.
Because there is still an elf.
This isn't
roaming
one of the
around.
challenge rating ones. She's
Okay.
now.
Oh yeah,
she's doing
she's trying
this.
to give...
She's adding to it. So you actually made it so that down low you guys are going to get an additional +2. So from now on, any rolls you do is going to be a
Plus 2 distractions in...
Yep.
Or...
Up until she stops actively.
Yeah,
Doing
for
the distraction.
for this, the distraction is only really going to apply for the teleportation time down. But that's still useful. So you're at a total of +6 for this.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm hiding art, removing tapestries.
of course.
Just
Yeah.
Bill could totally be using this time to just like steal random valuables too.
I think that's what
He's
Merrick was
kind of
doing.
assisting. I think Merrick is doing a lot of things, but
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
part of Bill's expertise is
he's probably stealing things, but he doesn't. So part of the problem, I think, is that he usually does things when there aren't people around the places he goes to, and he usually has like a literal bag that he's putting all the things that he takes. And right now he's going for stealth more than items.
yeah.
I think he is pocketing things that he finds that
I
he
think
knows
that,
have
like,
value. If they're
some
smaller.
small things that have some resale value.
samesies. I will pocket like small things,
Yeah.
but because he has my bag of holding, I can't take any big things.
Exactly. Yeah. So every
Even
once
though
in
I'm
a while.
like, am really tempted to take some
really quick
paintings.
though. Let me cut back to Grayson.
Oh yeah. Meanwhile,
Grayson, now that they start, like, you disappeared, the illusion disappeared, and they're like, go time! And they start, like, going and making things get
Doing
crazy
the do.
everywhere. Like, they, like, take paintings down and, like, just set it down nicely on the sides and, like, move it to a different room and just, like, just
Are
general weird...
rearrange paintings.
Putting it upside down,
like,
putting them in the wrong spot. Like, it's obvious one of them's, like, a series of stories, and you're like, I think the end should be the beginning. Like...
It's definitely like not in the right order
hippo
anymore.
on the crocodile and the crocodile on the falcon.
But Grayson, to you suddenly you were in the teleportation circle down there. Suddenly you're standing next to a dais that has the helm as described, sitting on like a little pedestal, like with the head, like a
little mannequin.
Like a mannequin head, yeah, exactly. Sitting in the center of the room. All around you is like gold chalices and like just like gold and silver. Yeah, a lot of gold and silver. You can see a whole like a chest in the corner that is open with a bunch of platinum in it, and you see a white diamond in each corner of the room.
Is it pretty bright in here at least? Or
There was
It's
a reason
it
we
is-
didn't send the crow lady
Yes,
in.
It is very well lit in here. There just seems to be like light coming from somewhere, but it's just lit in this room.
there is light. Okay.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah. So whatever reason, I think like Bill and Talia, like it splits from them like in a diagonal thing. It's just me staring at this thing. I like do it like a full circle. Go walk over the helmet, pick it up, brace for something to happen.
Nothing happens.
It's like that, like comical, like ice.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You like take it off of the mannequin head, and you like look around, and absolutely nothing happens.
I do a cool flourish, put it in the bag of holding, and sling it over my shoulder. Make sure I have everything with me, and then I wait. I'm like,
yes.
and I'm just staring at the platinum.
Literally all you can do.
I'm like,
yeah, it's a whole like it's a chest full. Not like a. I wouldn't say it's like a big like the kinds you see on the
but
shows.
like
It's like a lockbox that you can see is just full of platinum.
That's still so much.
yeah, and I'm just staring at it, and I was like,
I would have taken.
they said don't take anything else, so I'm not. That's why the crow wasn't sent.
Smart man. off the camera, I'll tell you why.
I really want the money so I can buy my own mercenary.
Whitney, go ahead and roll for whatever your highest applicable skill for this next step. It could be performance, sleight of hand. Right now you are. This is the next 10 minutes, so you'll add 6 to it, and then whatever skill you want to be using to make it so that Grayson and this teleportation circle aren't discovered. This is the one that I expect you'll have to use the most assistance coins on. FYI.
Okay.
You could still roll really well. I don't know, but I would guess
you did
this
good
is
last
the time.
time. Do good again. And I'm gonna roll another sleight of hand.
Okay.
Oh, and my disguise is probably off in this room. So when I reappear, I won't have a disguise on.
No. Yeah, that room up there. As soon as you went up there, if you had anything else that was magical, like it just stopped right then.
So I rolled 24 with all the plus.
That's a good start.
Yep.
So that is not high enough.
People notice?
Well, there's a risk of people noticing.
The elk starts running back up, and there's multiple people following you.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna release another bag of tricks.
Go ahead.
I really, really want it to be the panther.
And it eats the elk.
That's what my command will be if I pull the panther, will be to attack the elk. And the elk, because I've not been commanding it for more than one turn, will act as it naturally does, which is to run away.
It actually might try to kill the panther if it's that big.
Oh, that's fair.
Either way, big distraction.
Yes. I don't think it's a bad plan.
But yeah, you hear like the clippity cloppetings of the hooves coming back as you're like doing your distractions.
Why
and
is
you're
this painting upside down?
one person says that randomly while running by.
There's another giant elk in the control.
I'll let you roll a d6. It still only costs the d4, but it'll be a d6 actually.
It's a 5.
Okay, that puts you at 29.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elk collide.
This one's a female. Actually,
Well, you
triple
just-
elk.
It's just as scary. But
That's
Slash, I could also leave caltrops all up and down the stairs.
let me ask first. Would you prefer it's the panther?
I
But if it's a female, it does not have horns, antlers. I know some animals do. I've double checked.
actually I would prefer it be the dire wolf.
Okay. You still only get the d6 on the roll, but I have no reason not to let you decide that it's the dire wolf. As far as there's no actual combat happening, and it's just
Cool cinematic.
and this is fully cinematic, then anything in there is fine with me as far as your bag of tricks. So, if it's a dire wolf, it's a dire wolf.
It's a dire wolf.
Done.
yikes.
And I'm gonna tell it to attack the things attacking the elk.
Whoa.
I thought we weren't killing them.
I said attack, not kill.
Play.
Play with the things attacking the elk.
Play fight with the. Oh no.
Oh no.
Most of them won't die.
Most.
So you pull out a little lid from your bag, throw it, and it's a huge, or is it just large? I don't
It's a
know.
dire wolf.
Yeah,
I don't know their actual
Wolves are
size.
large.
I know they're not medium like the normal wolf, but I wasn't sure if it was large or huge. But a very large wolf comes out. Now the elk is still acting in appropriation of its natural state because you haven't given it anything. It is much larger than a wolf, and typically they will fight back. But yeah, so it is going to actually fight the wolf as well. So basically, this turns into a giant brawl between elk. So the scene cuts. A wolf comes out of the hallway from the direction that the elk is going, and it's in front of you, both of them. But to the cinematic view of the acolytes and few guards that are here, a wolf starts barreling in from the hallway towards them and the elk that's in front of them. It doesn't stop at the elk. It keeps going. The elk kicks at it as it goes by, and you just see, like, havoc starts. I will actually let you roll an additional d6 at no cost because this sounds very distracting.
That's another 5.
5?
We're at 34.
34.
That's a recurring number now.
How interesting.
You're welcome.
34. So, it
Roll
is
higher.
still not done. That's what happened in the first few minutes while you were there. That distraction's happening. Now, there's 2 entrances to this area. They continue fighting and doing those things. Another distraction or another complication arises. Not from that same hallway, but a different direction. Okay, one sec. What do you guys have remaining for things that you could that could assist you? Like, there's spells, there's...
We have 8 tools, 3 acolytes, 2 team, 1 Merrick, 8 spells, 6 psionics.
You still have 2 teams? I thought you only had 1 now. Because didn't you use 2 of them total?
I used 1.
Maybe I'm thinking wrong.
Did we didn't draw any more out of... did you mean to have us expend one when Bill helped with the
No.
initial entrance?
No, I didn't. So it must have just been the one. When you were first going in, that's the only time that you've had a companion assist? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
they were distracting. We have 1 more key and 1 more animal in the bag.
Okay, sounds good. The last part, or the next part here, you hear a loud prayer coming from the other direction, and you look out and you see one of the main priests of the cathedral walking in. He's walking towards your direction, and it looks like he's deep in prayer, but he's walking like directly towards where your guys' area is.
Eyes closed, eyes
Like-
open.
His eyes are open.
Is it like he's trying to go through the library to get to the brawl?
It looks like it could be. It's hard to say. I mean, she doesn't know. What she
Right.
sees is that he's coming from the other side. So the cathedral is typically symmetrical, one side to the other. And he's coming this way, and it looks like he's heading right for the library.
And I've probably used about 10 minutes of crow time currently.
I don't know. Maybe. That sounds acceptable if that's what you think. How much time do you have total?
An hour.
Yeah, I think that 10
I
minutes
wouldn't
of
have
pro time.
used the whole hour to get inside the cathedral.
I think 10 minutes of
would've.
pro time sounds just fine.
Okay. I will turn. Does he doesn't see me that I'm aware of.
You can start. You don't
I'm gonna use Mage Hand.
Okay.
And does he have like one of those like scholarly scarf thingies on him?
He has a shawl, kind of.
I'm gonna use my Mage Hand to rip the scarf off and like dangle it behind him. And, like it's my Mage Hand's dancing away with his shawl.
Making it look like
That's gonna
like
be
a bird has it.
Yes.
So that's going to be
It's gonna
considered a
spell
tool,
or
or it could either be a spell. Well, I wasn't really counting mage hand. Cantrips were kind of whatever. So
That's
you can
fair.
use either a spell or a.
I guess either way it's.
They're at the
D4.
same one.
The same amount. Yeah, they're the same D4. I would maybe just use whatever one you have more of because
We are equal.
We're equal.
if they're
with
equal
them.
in both ways, then either one of those is fine in my head for
Then
for
let's-
mage hand.
Do a tool. It's a 4.
Yeah, it's a D4.
Big money, big money.
No.
Not
Small
big
money.
My D4s hate me today. 1.
He continues walking as if he didn't even notice or care that his shawl was going. You start to notice like an aura coming off of him as well.
Can I bring it back and like put it over his face?
Roll another D4. Yeah, it would cost either a tools or a magic, whichever is the
I was
other
gonna count
applicable.
it as a tools.
It's a 3.
Okay, so that's a 4 total. It goes over his face, and he does look like he looks distracted now. He stops the prayer and like moves his hand and like starts messing with the skull or the shawl scarf that's over his face.
Can I personally now run up to him and try and keep the shawl on his head?
Or
So
you have a team member, Bill, who could do. Or just
Or
kind of.
I don't know if Bill's near.
Can be, I'm sure.
If he needs to distract somebody, he could be there.
Bill and you were both going around
That's
distracting.
fair.
So, again, this is mostly primarily cinematic, just trying to make those coins work as well.
Mhm.
By the way, what is her total roll at now? At that
38.
38.
38?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Zooks, my shawl. That's how this guy
Basically, he's wearing the blue shawl. Yeah, but
sounds. He's a good guy.
he doesn't quite sound like Gadzooks. But he's not far off either.
Well, what if instead I use a key point to also knock him unconscious? Now that his face is covered with a shawl.
Again, we're playing fully cinematically.
Are you?
Boom!
Why not just try to pull him down the hallway, though, or like just get him spun around the wrong direction?
Just roll your key point
Scooby-Doo
and we'll
him.
see what happens.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo him.
Okay.
What does that even mean? Pull his face off?
What's a D6? The electrum?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a 6. Okay. I was like, what is that do?
This pile is getting big.
And we're out
folks.
of key point. We're at 40 now. That was a 2.
Okay, so
It's not quite.
with what I'm imagining here, you don't really knock him out, but between everything that you've just done, you kind of just keep him like veiled and shrouded. I would say that your key point is using swift instead of punching, and you just kind of like run over and like push him forward and just get him right through this area over towards where the elk is.
Okay.
With enough.
And then you like let go of his scarf and stuff after when he's facing back towards the elk and stuff. He like looks and just he sees the dire wolf and all of his acolytes and all these things.
And he's
And
like, I can deal with that mystery later.
basically. He might even like you hear a little prayer like, oh think Antelion, and he walks like off towards the. This is an older man. But anyway.
Got his glasses on. Oh.
Yeah, it's,
Gadzooks.
how did I get here so fast?
Thanks.
That gets all taken care of and done. Oh man.
He removes the elk distraction.
Not yet.
Okay. You still get a +1 from the elk.
Yeah. Now, we are still at another complication, and I currently can't think of any complications. Does anyone else want to add in a complication that could happen at this point?
There's probably-
one that could happen at the cathedral.
Yes.
Um,
It would need to happen at the cathedral, and it's happening to Whitney. It's one that could possibly interrupt the teleportation circle.
gotcha.
We are just about at the end. There's not that much longer, but they have not actually hit the CR yet for the 10
Yeah,
minutes.
they haven't hit the goal
Exactly.
number yet to distract all the way through.
As I said, this one was one of the hard. It pretty much is the hardest one, other than maybe this escape, because there's a lot going on that escape so far.
If the priest's handling that, maybe the guards rush into the library to see where they came from.
Or
That could be.
Or it could just be that like
Guy with the book's looking for a snack. He's coming back through.
The guy with the book is currently
he's
at
unconscious.
desk.
Yeah, you're right.
No. The guard that Dalmira was distracting is coming back.
Yeah, he's like, where'd my friend go?
I have to go. I need to go talk to my friend about like the weird. Like
He was called away,
He was
but he came
supposed to
back.
go there.
Like,
Yeah.
Why is he
And I didn't see
avoiding
him come out.
orders? Like
It is just him that comes back, and he's just like, you. A guard, like a dude, just like pops his head into the library, and it's gone, and then it's back. And I don't think that you would even recognize him, but it is the guard that
Let's try to
nearly
talk to
stopped him. Like, he's been distracted for a good almost 20 minutes now by freaking Delmira, but eventually he decided to
He
come
got
out
away.
there. Yeah, exactly. And he's just like, what?
You still have Bill.
What is going on in here?
I'm gonna use Bill.
Bill's
I
got
don't know what
something for
else
us.
to do.
Bill.
Okay.
Bill.
So, Bill, roll a d8 for teammate assistance.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
It's another 8. This
Very
teammate really
good.
likes me.
So that takes us up to 48.
Bill basically just walks over to him and says, "Oh man, it's a cinematic part, but he just like walks over calmly, like touches his shoulder and says, "Oh, we've got the priest up there. He's just getting his coins. He's like, let me just, because at this point, Bill is relying on the fact that all of these acolytes are actually acolytes.
Oh yeah.
Starts fast talking the guy.
So he's just trying to fast talk him. He's walking him away, and he's just like, "Now, were you looking for something?" And like, just starts walking away.
Yeah.
So Bill should be fine, but Bill's gone from the room now.
Yes.
You are not there yet.
How far are we?
Extremely close.
Okay.
So, at this point, I think the last distraction is mostly just going to be that you hear that there is success of the elk. Like they finished the elk, right? Or rather the wolf.
What happens
And
to them when like they get killed or something? Do they just disappear?
It doesn't specify. I think they're like, once they're out of the bag and not fluff anymore, they're actual
like they're just
creatures, so
animals
it's an
at that
actual
point.
carcass.
So there's whatever celebration.
Yeah, you hear a celebration, and then you start hearing people saying things like,
Let's make
what
sure
do
the
we
library's
do
okay."
with this? Should we check the library? Like, you just kind of hear those kinds of conversations start. What is one thing you would even think could assist?
Another animal.
I like.
She could.
That is immediately what came to mind.
So
That would be just fine.
I do
If that's what
think
you want to do.
I think I want to hang on to it for just a moment.
I like the idea of
Technically
sharing some of his
speaking-
like darkness.
That's true,
Like,
yeah.
'cause
He has his-
I gave you guys some little packets of something. I was like, in case of emergency, break.
Yes,
break
it'll
this
give you a
somewhere and
D4, and it
it'll
just
distract
increases
the-
it'll distract things.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do.
It's the psionic energy one.
Use
Is what.
some
Yeah.
of the psionic.
Okay,
So we
Power.
can add
We
2
haven't
more
used that.
D4s to this scene if we need. We've done 2, and you said we can do 4 and then.
yeah, it's one for each D4 option that's on there.
Oh,
so.
one for. Yeah. Okay.
But go ahead and roll that.
Maybe Whitney shouldn't be rolling d4s anymore. Maybe we should let Grayson roll them.
Do you want to roll them? You're not here. It's
Four.
a 4.
You definitely passed it. You only needed 2.
What did I say?
You should have said it earlier.
You just kind of break open this like little packet of shadowy darkness, right? You see it.
Go, be distracting.
This like shadowy form just kind of like shifts down the hallway, and you see it just like land on the wolf and like sink into it, and the wolf briefly gets up again for a minute, and everyone freaks out. Right then, he appears again.
Let's go. Where's Bill? Disguise.
He's distracting. Go, disperse.
Did you already put the D6 coin over there for that?
Yes, he just wait, D6?
For
Oh, yours
the-
is a D4, sorry.
Yeah.
Alright guys, I gotta do some quick calculations.
After
This is to figure out
he
how hard it's going to be to get out.
Yes.
after he comes out, I'm gonna knock one of the tables over
Uh-huh.
and scatter some stuff around, and then do it to one of the other tables so it looks like the elk got in here and just
Just mess
distract
stuff up. Because you don't have time to put everything back
Right.
perfectly. Counting things.
I know.
Sorry guys, didn't mean to.
I wish I could be counting things.
1 days. 2 days.
You know, they call me the Count because I really like to count.
Oof.
Blah blah blah.
That's a little. No, it's fine. I'm recalculating. I had to decide what each of these were worth
Recalculating.
in points.
We can't get 100?
That wasn't 100, but it was higher than any of the other ones we'd done so far, which I
That's
wasn't
not
quite
me.
ready for. Again, we're kind of figuring out these calculations as we go, so... See, the biggest problem here was that...
Was that you threw a platinum on top of the
I did it on
column?
purpose, but... Alright, well I know what it's gonna be. So, you guys are ready to go. You're gonna be rolling to get out. That can be stealth, whatever. It's gonna, again, have the +6. Because the distractions and things are still going. Do you remember what you rolled for the distraction? Was like 14 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
We're
Slightly
each rolling a
disappointing number, but it's
d20
fine.
separately.
Huh?
So we're each rolling a d20.
No,
Plus,
just one.
just one of us is rolling.
Mm-hmm. You're rolling it as a group for the cinematic. So whichever of you has the highest plus to something, it could be stealth, it could be whatever.
So, you're definitely got higher pluses because of your double proficiency. But I'm not stealthy, so... That would be your double proficiency. I'm just going to try to lie my way out of here in a disguise, theoretically.
Only one of you is gonna roll.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
How do we want to do it?
I was just gonna stealth my way out the way I came in.
Well, I imagine we're scattering, technically. A little bit. And hopefully Bill can make it.
Do you want to roll a deception?
Sure.
Is that the highest of your
no.
guys'?
I think
You
the
got
highest
stealth.
would be having her roll stealth.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You can still leave through deception. This is just a baseline. We're gonna add all these tools and things in the end anyway. So
I should have rolled. So we're getting the +6 still? So that's a 20.
not a bad start.
It's a
Now I'm just gonna put this out there, but now would probably be the perfect
perfect time to pull
To have
Merrick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help out.
So you're currently at 20. Basically, you guys start to scatter, but people on the outside are starting to try to warn you, Grayson, through your book. But I'm not sure they can unless you contact them first. Exactly. So they weren't able to get in touch with you, but Merrick was able to get it figured out, and he drops in not only to warn you, but to start doing some things because. This whole fiasco with a dire wolf and an elk in the cathedral caused a lot more guards to be called in to the cathedral.
Use it.
So,
You want me to roll for Merrick?
Yeah.
go ahead. You
Use
got
it.
this.
Here we go, Merrick. A 10. That's reasonable.
Not bad. So now you guys are at 30. Merrick drops in, and you just see he has a couple of rocks in his hand, and he shoots it down towards you just see them on his hand, and they just go flying out from him towards the people down there. and then he just like, and then he like turns to you, and he turns to you guys right before you guys are about to scatter, and he just says, "There's guards everywhere out there. I don't know what you guys did, but there's so many guards coming in."
How heavy can you pick up as a bird?
I don't know. How do I know that?
Probably
Do you know
heavy
your
enough.
bird's strength score?
No.
2.
We can
And I get a negative
theoretically
4.
calculate it.
Why?
Because I can hide in my lantern and she can just carry me away theoretically.
For thematics, we can have you
Yeah.
carry her away.
So as long as you're okay with her, I'm like, hey,
But
extra hit it.
but first we need to hit the target number for the heist.
Yes.
That's okay. That
In
can be
order
part of
to-
it. So you can say that that's part of your plan. You
Yeah, we still gotta like make sure we don't get seen and clear like stuff, but like
Yeah, and you're trying to help out that like the acolyte. You were trying to help him to not be obviously known to be assisting you.
yeah. I'm like,
Can I punch him? He's got
Luth?
a bruise.
Use a thieves' tool point
Yeah.
for it. But
For punching Luth.
yeah, I don't need to know about those things anymore.
Okay.
And I'll tell him just to be like, pretend you're knocked out in like a hallway somewhere.
Yeah, so you use thieves' tools. I'm still imagining that you actually punch him, but roll a d4.
But yeah, I definitely do still
Yeah.
actually punch
You're
him, so he
giving out
has like
black eye.
a bruise
But,
to show for
yeah,
it.
you're using your monk knowledge to punch him where it will make the
A
most
D4?
bruise with the least real damage.
Because part of this is just you trying to assist him and looking like he's another one.
You need to
You
stop.
can roll
not
it
in-
in. Roll it in there.
you roll it in there. She rolled a 2 that time, but
Take
we're
it!
sticking with the 1. She rolled it in the thing. It's a 1.
Why do they hate me?
So we're at 31.
Oh man.
We used Merrick.
Okay.
So
We also have acolytes.
since we're at this stage.
Ah yes, those 3 acolytes would probably be very beneficial to use.
Yeah.
Can we use all of them?
I don't care.
Um,
Basically, you guys are like,
yeah. Can I technically help at this stage?
were you planning to come back to the cathedral?
Probably not, but I could theoretically help by making my escape from the theater
Remember what number you guys are at.
louder than it necessarily needs. You know what I mean?
I don't know
As
if
you see
would-
guards like, oh wait, we
you
gotta go
see
back.
people starting to leave. Go ahead. So technically speaking, your CR to correctly do it would be to escape in general is
Where did the other tray go?
I have it.
I see. You,
I'm
you
sorry.
have it because you're using it. I was like,
I didn't mean to steal
I
it.
thought we had 2 specifically, so we didn't have to move this one around.
We did. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So tell me what you're thinking first, and then I'll figure out how to make it work. Because you are not only trying to escape, but now because you see the guards are going, you're like, we need to spice it up here to hopefully help their escape.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thought was within the rules of the heist mini game. I could spend what's that? Sorry, I am words.
No, you're good.
Today. It's a day. I could spend like psionic energy dice to speak telepathically with who was it that was doing lookout stuff right now? It was
There's quite a
Corin,
few people. Yeah.
but I think we had set up Corin to just to warn him, like, this is the direction they're going as they're leaving here, and he could use that information to coordinate with other people, really try to
delay the guards.
yeah, delay the guards on their way back to the where they would be a problem for you.
That makes sense to me. Let me have you roll your d20 first. I'm going to just start doing your escape.
Okay.
So we're going to pause with what they're at
Yes.
currently, and we're going to cut. It cuts from them being like, there's guards everywhere, and then it cuts to Paxton's character looking around and seeing like guards leaving the ruckus he had started. Use your d20. It can be whatever your highest like thief skill.
I mean, that would technically be sleight of hand.
I don't even mind.
I mean, we could just say that it uses the sleight of hand principle of look at what I'm doing here, not what I'm doing here.
That's fine with
kind
me.
of a thing.
Yeah. The idea to me is just that it's whatever you're most efficient at doing. is what you're probably going to do while trying to escape.
I mean, it could.
So
Deception isn't that much lower, and that could also be.
both of them would
It's
be
a little
fine.
bit of both.
But yeah, you can just roll the sleight of hand's fine.
Okay, sounds good. In that case, that's only a 14 because I rolled a 5.
That's okay. So
But I do have Nesta and our gnome friend, whose I don't remember specifically for
Larimore?
sure. Larimore. Yeah.
We technically only have one more
Anyway.
use up team.
Oh,
Yeah.
Larimo, sorry.
Larimo.
Larimo. Yeah, there's only one more team coin to use.
But it does seem reasonable to. I don't know.
Either way, but one sec. I think that what happens is your escape one wasn't very high because your distraction wasn't high either.
Yeah.
So I think that that's enough to escape. And if you're wanting to, at this point, if you're wanting to recreate a distraction, I would let you.
To create a new distraction.
Yes, but it would cause. So basically, you're like, all right, plans need to change. So I'm gonna add in a new thing, and you could create a new distraction, but you would have to escape again. And on the second time, it might be harder.
It would be harder. Okay.
So it would pull. I would make it so basically whatever you rolled on your d20 here to distract is exactly what it would add to what their escape would do.
Okay. In that
so
case,
it would be very distracting if you did.
Yeah.
Basically, you'll have to get double whatever you roll.
So with that 14 that I just rolled, it basically like,
That was your original.
Yeah.
Like you could get away from what you were
I
currently.
can. Okay. So I guess what happens is I give this whole like speech thing, and then guards show up, and we just peacefully leave with them, and they like give us a stern talking to about disturbing the peace, and then something more important is happening, and they leave us with like one guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
We mug it.
Yeah, they leave you with just like a couple. Like they left you with the
Junior officers.
They left you with the play guards. And like one official. So, the play guards are mostly like, they're not volunteers, but they're just like, they're not really guards.
yeah. And so we've effectively just escaped already, basically.
Close, yeah. Like between them having freaking direwolves appear in the cathedral, fighting with elks, fighting with everything, like so much crap suddenly happened in the cathedral that they're just like, listen, we just don't be dumb. And like everyone left but one actual government official guard, and then the mall guards.
Gotcha. The mall guards.
Yeah, boy. Representing my peeps.
I didn't
call
mean
Paul
that,
Blart.
Okay.
but
So
yeah, they're not soldiers.
yeah. So for the new distraction.
Yeah, this is completely off the cuff. So
What else? What other important buildings are near?
a lot of the government buildings are kind of near there for like getting things done, along with the commerce buildings, which are similar. Like all of it's done by the government in general in this nationality. So the answer is that any of the above could be, and it's not too far away actually from the Greylock Estate is where you guys are currently at. Not because they were taking you to the Greylock Estate, but because that's where a lot of the government like buildings are.
Okay. So
there's quite a few government official buildings where they do like a lot of the processing, a lot of the commerce, a lot of the back end government stuff is done in this area.
all right. So there's the 22 of us all in this group, and like a handful of mall guards and the one official who's they're trying to figure out what to do with us, because if we decide to get rowdy, we sure could.
Yeah, there's probably not even half of the amount of people watching you as there are people in your group right now.
Yeah.
Good boy.
And I just say, boys.
I don't
What did you say?
I don't think we were heard. I think it's something along the lines of, you remember what direction your exits are? Because it's time to get out of here. and I cast darkness.
Nice. Use a spell for it as well.
Absolutely.
But
I'll spend a spell because we had...
No, in your pile, not ours.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore.
But it's kind of cool
I already
to
calculated
see
it. It is.
I
Cool.
cast
Oh,
darkness.
you know your own dice.
And then so you'll roll your d20 with the assistance of the d4.
Yep. And I also send a ping to Laramo.
And you were going to do that as the... Were you going to do that as the d4 of
Who's
your...
Laramie?
He's the gnome artificer.
Ah.
And I tell him, light it up. Because he's an alchemist, right?
He is an alchemist.
Yeah.
Well, he's an artificer, but an alchemist.
But he's an alchemist kind of artificer.
So what's going to happen here... Yeah, that's perfect, just like that. Yeah, so you'll roll the d8, a d4, and your d20. And that's all going to go towards theirs. It's going to go towards theirs.
The new distraction.
Yeah.
And would this be my stealth, probably, that we're adding to? Or are we still doing like a new sleight of hand thing?
It would make sense to be sleight of hand even still, because you're literally doing like darkness and like crazy light them up, yeah.
Okay, so in that case, here we're at 13, 18 here. I didn't roll super high on any of my dice.
18 total?
Yeah, 18
That's
total.
still pretty good. So, Grayson, add 18 to yours.
49.
49?
That's where we're at right now.
You guys are so close, but not quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
And by so close, I don't mean you're one away. There's a little bit more than that.
Well,
so you're going to have to probably do 2-ish or so.
I want to use these acolytes while we got them.
Oh,
Yeah.
But we'll finish this cinematic part.
Yeah, I will let all of the acolytes be used,
Um,
even though it technically goes against the original rule I made. But I think in this case...
We just combine them into a single die.
But yeah, at this point, magical darkness just shoots out into the 30-foot, I think, area around me, and everybody just starts going. And I have blind sense in addition to dark vision, so I can just walk out.
That's pretty great. Laramo.
And meanwhile, Laramo.
Laramo is guided by
You might not be
Nesta?
in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Laramo can't see in the darkness, but he's familiar with Nesta.
I-
Nesta literally can see through magical darkness, which is why she went with you, was
Yeah.
in case this needed it. But yeah, so that's done. He just starts kind of like flinging things around. In fact, it's both her and him. She starts doing some occasional like fire spells, like she does like hands and just like hits a building and just like lights up anything that's on the building. He's throwing potions that are basically like just like it looks like he doesn't have a lot with him.
It's just a little more.
And we go to like a cutback scene where it's like, I'm still kind of new at this kind of a thing, and then it goes back to it, and he just like throws a bunch of potion bottles around, and one of them hits and just like starts melting the rock a little bit.
Treat us fair.
I mean, at this point, we're not at a treat us fair. We're at a we're all bugging out of here.
Yeah.
They cannot possibly arrest all of us, and it's becoming less and less likely that they can arrest any of us.
Exactly.
Yes.
Good job. Man, I don't even know if I kind of like it cinematically that there isn't even enough guards to give you chase. Like, you've already finished your escape because of the crap they're doing.
But there's like comical guard arresting a guard in the darkness.
That's a good goo.
Like it like zooms into the cloud and you can like barely see figures and stop resisting.
It's like when you go into the rift in Shadow and Bone. Have you watched that?
No, but
And
I know, like I've seen scenes to it.
Yeah, so it like zooms in, it's like completely black, and then the black just disappears, and you see a guard like putting handcuffs on one of the
we're like seeing it in my blind sense as I walk past.
Ooh, that's cool too.
We have like the Daredevil sonar effect going on.
Yeah, totally works for me. But yeah, we just see we see the actual soldier guard putting handcuffs on one of the
theater
guards.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear him a little bit like giving almost like the police speech.
The
of,
Miranda,
like,
right?
don't fight it. Don't fight this. Don't. Yeah. Not. I mean, it's not the same.
Don't make it
but-
worse for yourself.
Yeah. Don't make this worse for yourself. I already know you used magic against the against a legally appointed guard. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Is that fire?
when the darkness falls, there's just like a bunch of government buildings on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they have to deal with that.
Yeah, so you kind of we like zoom up to see like
We
the
went
scene.
loud.
We zoom up to see a scene from above the city, and we see like the guards that were all coming back. Like they start to like you see them like shift halfway between, and they kind of like some go back towards and some go back the other direction. You see some people coming out of the cathedral, like some people going into the cathedral, and from above it just looks like mass chaos going on in the city.
There's
As
a nice
we're
concert.
zooming from above you guys. Oh shoot.
Sorry.
Back in
We
through
love
the
you.
window of the
Bye,
cathedral.
night.
Yeah, basically, like
Aw.
it zooms from above you, zooms up and around, and we like see all that havoc happening. We see the havoc happening in front of the cathedral, and then we get back to you guys. And it's just a scene of like Merrick jumping down from off the cathedral down into some of the group, and like just starts speaking in a dialect that's exactly the same as some of the other things. Like behind some people, he like walks around and like starts giving orders to another group of people, and all these like, and then it gets to you guys like on the ledge just outside the cathedral, about to leave.
I make the last eye contact with the mind, like the blank faced acolytes, like do your best. Give us escape.
I'm gonna pause this for just a second.
We love you. We'll be right back.
All right, and we're back. So we were just at the scene where Grayson was looking at the acolytes.
Our three blank faced ones, because we pretended to knock out Luth.
Yeah.
I'm like, do whatever you can, buy us time.
Spend
Hoping.
all three of those.
Would you like me to roll 3d6 or
3d6.
hey? I'm going to borrow one from each of us.
You have a chance of being able to get away with just this right here.
7, 10 total.
10
So that
total?
puts us up to 59.
59, yep. You are good to go with that roll.
Yeah. So cinematically, like as I do that, I into my lantern,
What do you... Yeah, that's perfect. You floop into your lantern, and then you were going to turn into a bird and just take him away, right? Yeah.
I was probably already in bird form at that point and just sitting on like the handle of his lantern waiting for him to
Yeah, like I put it
Yeah.
on the sill, turn around.
From there... Oh, go on.
Oh, I just wanted to contribute with how Bill gets out when it's time. I had an idea.
Deal.
Yes.
Yeah, so in the scene, we're looking at it this way. You say that to them. What are you imagining the acolytes might do? And I'm telling you right now, there's no limit to what these 3 acolytes are willing to do. They are being controlled by the it's kind of like an off-on option kind of a thing where he always has influence, but right now he has total domination. So he's basically just going to do whatever he thinks is the best distraction, whether that's...
What he thinks is the best
What
distraction?
he thinks is the best distraction is what he's telling them to do. So what I mean by that is whatever you think is going to be the best distraction.
Should we each choose what one of them does? That sounds neat. Silly.
There are 3, so you could each choose what they're going to do.
Yeah. What do you got?
They are low level, and I mean pretty low level clerics. So they can't do crazy things. I think they like a 2nd level spell is all they have.
So the first one, like robotically like picks up a candle and uses like a cantrip to light it, and then just like walks completely silently over to the wall and lights a priceless like a priceless bookshelf on fire.
Oh.
And then just like walks over to some curtains and lights those on fire. And then like drops the candle and jumps out the window.
Ooh.
Just like swan dive out the window.
Grayson, what does your acolyte do?
Another one just starts thaumaturging doors, like slamming shut, like like one at a time.
Just shut, or is it open and shut? Just like constant open and shuts, or is it just shut?
I think he
shut?
like he goes to like from right to left, shut, 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 shut.
Cool.
Open, open.
Oh, that's interesting. I was so. That
Unless
makes
like if
sense,
there's
too.
especially if he sees people, then he'll shut it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So what I'm imagining now is that he just like shuts all the doors he can see, and then just like starts walking around the 2nd floor and just shuts any door that opens up again.
Yes.
But, like if there's people in it, just like shut, shut, shut. Just shuts any door as he's walking around. Whitney, what's the last one doing?
I tell him to go rearrange the library.
So technically,
This is just
he's
me
being.
telling
This
him
is
to
just what he
distract
does. He told him to distract, and technically, this is the
It's out of-
tentacle
The tentacle
dude.
dude.
It's
telling
out
him.
of the Dewey Decimal System now. It's in
Yeah.
it's in its own.
So it's if he like if he's so you're just like he just like walks away and goes into the library and starts rearranging all books.
So I don't know if he would let him destroy a priceless work of art. This is the tentacle.
Oh.
dude.
You're right.
You're
he probably
right.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
But curtains, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's all stone. Like so, this whole building is stone
Okay.
for the building.
oh, what if instead of
All right. As we like.
No,
think
you're
about
right.
it,
I
like,
wasn't
No,
thinking
you're-
about
you're
it. Like, he would
absolutely
not
right.
destroy art.
he? See, I was thinking in terms of that being the most distracting thing he could think of.
Yeah. So that
But
is true,
that
but
could just be something that he.
he probably would
wouldn't
not be
allow.
willing to destroy art.
So he might be instead just like ruining the presentation of the art.
Oh, that is
Like-
pretty awful.
Like instead he's like going around and like turning statues around and
Yeah.
like rolling up and putting away like big wall hangings.
He's
Everybody's seen
he's
this
putting
wall
big
hanging.
wall hangings instead of like up, like instead of like this way, he's putting a diagonal this way, and it like leans on the ground a little bit. Cool. And are you still sticking with the library one?
He's intentionally getting in front of people as he's like rearranging books. Like somebody walks by, he's like walks in front of them.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Not necessarily like rearranging the library, but he's taking all of the books off. There will not be a single book on those shelves by the time he is done, and they will all be scattered on the floor, like in
Okay.
Like
as
tiny
if they're
stacks.
floor.
Oh,
He's making a colored mosaic.
on the floor.
Out of books.
Because I was in two different
That's
minds.
brilliant.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be like picks it up and just throws it behind him, picks it up and just throws it behind him, or if it was going to be like picks it up and then sets it down nicely. So
I like
the throwing it behind it.
yeah, that's up to you. But yeah, those were the two things that I was imagining, like taking it, looking at it, just throwing it behind him.
Potentially hitting people.
But then, like, the camera zooms up and we see a mosaic beginning to form anyway because
Yes.
the master has a
The
brilliant
master's
artistic
doing
mind.
it. Yes, that makes sense to me. He's like, so he keeps looking at it, and he like will take a second and like he looks at it, the color and things, and just throws it behind him, and then it lands perfectly where it needs to go to start making.
Or
It's
open, depending on what.
Or
he
open,
wants.
depending on the color. It's whatever, but it keeps landing
octopus.
exactly perfectly, and it is making the master's face in the mosaic on the
Oh
floor.
my heck. These people are going to think they were attacked by so many demons today.
You're not even working with the demon cult.
At this rate, though, we might end up doing so.
They owe us a big thing.
You two are completely able to get out of here and without really a problem. I don't really think. So the last one I was going to possibly have a roll for escaping from the city, but I think that at this point, the three of you and Merrick's crew and just everyone is pretty well. There's some serious chaos going on. Now, the last thing before I go to actually escaping from the city is we need a cinematic of Bill.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
So all of this stuff is going on in the cathedral, and Bill has that one guard, and he's got his arm over his shoulder, and he's just talking his ear off.
Yeah, and I want to point out really quick that Bill isn't actually super great at speaking.
No, he's not. He keeps on stuttering and stumbling over his words and being like, you know that one word that I'm thinking of? Pituitary, you know. So...
And it cuts to the guard's face because pituitary doesn't fit what Bill was talking about at all.
Because he was talking about like, so we need to find your friend, and
Yeah, it's pituitary to find your friend.
yeah, and they like he like opens up the door. You said your friend was. Let's retrace a step, and they open up the door to the cathedral and step out, and the guard sees the fires and is like, well, I gotta go, and Bill just. Bye. Have a nice life, I guess. And he just
Bill's
walks
like,
off.
good riddance.
Finally.
Drinks water out of a water skin.
Yeah, he like drinks some water out of a water skin, checks one of his brand new rings that he picked up and
Looks at one of the rubies from one of the like stands that were in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Not a bad haul for it being a secondary job. It's just like,
At this point, it goes to cutscenes of everyone like getting to their horses. And for some reason in my head, it goes to like one of those weird old movies, like almost like Indiana Jones. It's gonna cut up to like a map of the city, and it's gonna show like everyone on horses leaving out of different exits, like totally like a paper city with like little paper.
yeah.
Indicators of people.
Yeah. Like ridiculously stupid for the situation that we're in, but that's exactly what my brain is imagining.
I love it.
It just shows like these three on horses, like it's a little head and a little horse underneath it, and just like a move this way and like two move this way, three move out this exit, and it shows one that's a crow and a lantern, and it goes up.
Oh, there's like the there's Rolf and Shalantha's family leaving, and then there's it shows like them. They've got a carriage, and then it like zooms in and because this is all like cartoony drawings of them.
Yeah, right now.
Right. And then it like zooms in on the carriage and you see a little box inside of the carriage that has Sirius inside of it.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh wait.
Sure, yeah, we didn't specifically plan who was going out where exactly, so that's just fine with me.
I think that would be a funny thing, at least.
Yep, no, that sounds good to me. Everyone gets out of the city. You were planned to just kind of drop and roll out of the carriage and then meet up with them. Like while they were traveling, you were supposed to just drop it was
Xander, like kicks the side of the wagon when we're clear, and I just like flop out of a secret compartment and roll down a hill.
Yeah, exactly. And then you head over to the old ruins to find them. And then everyone's group had a way of finding their own group, and then it was going to be their own travels to get there to the next city. So yeah, I like that. I don't see a reason to go any further than that. You're going to meet up with them in the ruins. I don't have any plans for at the ruins or anything, so it'll just be travel time after that. So next week, it'll be travel to the next city time.
We didn't leave our horses at the ruin, because it's a little far away. So we don't have horses if you rolled out of a thing, unless you got horses where you rolled out.
Based on what you guys all said, you don't have your
with
horses.
those-
So
No.
we're going to be one of the last people at the next city.
Yep. Which is okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, you guys don't have
Yeah,
horses.
we're just gonna have to pick up some horses on the way.
Yep, that's an option. Or anyway, it's no big deal. But I think you guys only have the
You
gold you
could
have.
carry Cirrus into your lantern for an hour a day, and I could just fly us. I have a really fast fly speed.
As the crow flies, especially since you have rogue levels, so you can dash as a bonus action. We can move really
Dash
fast.
as a crow.
Plus, I can use Step of the Wind.
Like we can make some significant.
Like, I can get pretty far as a crow in just 1 hour.
I just don't know how. I'll have to look into that, but I like the idea. I'm just not sure. Like, I feel like once you
Like-
turn into something else, not all of your powers go with you.
That's fair.
I don't know though. Like, I don't play
Like-
that kind of class enough to know.
You play Druid a lot. Comment. Let us know.
Yeah, her
Well,
power's
I don't play
technically
Druid
a
very
druid
much.
power.
Druids have specific abilities that allow them to.
Yeah.
And that's why
I
I
think it's
wasn't
once you
sure.
hit like a
And
certain
I don't want to
We'll-
read that.
We'll have to work out how things work off camera. I
Yeah,
think.
as of
Or-
right now, I was just thinking a crow.
Or you just
Either
comment.
way, pretty fast.
Either way, you can still dash it. You just wouldn't be able to triple dash. You would only be able to do the
I mean,
double
I
dash.
can move 50 feet.
Yeah, so you can move 100 feet a turn if you dash. And if you're a rogue and can use your actual feature, it'd be 150 feet. That's just where the question is. 100
Right.
or 150? Anyway, we might do a zombie roleplay using Savage Worlds and do a podcast for it, but that's a 50-50. If you like that idea, you've thought about it for the last hour and a half, and you like that idea, then let us know. And if not, then we
Still let
might
us
do it
know.
anyway. It's our notes, whatever. But we'll
Just
see
say
you
stuff.
in 2 weeks.
Bye!
Bye.